Good morning. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn this morning, number 100 in your gray hymnal. I've got Peace Like a River. We'll sing 3 verses, and the lyrics are also on the screen. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. Please be seated.
So I'd like to invite you to scooch in because there are people who are still coming in. And so just be aware, just show some community love and kindness. So they're not going to come in this moment because they won't until after our opening words, but I just want you to be ready. How about the band? Can you give Matt the mic so Matt can introduce our members of the band?
Hey, good morning. So I'm Matt Reed. Good to see y'all. I've been here one time before, so looking forward to many more. Today in the house band, we've got Evan Campfield on bass. And Tyler Monroe on drums.
And as I've said before, if this is your first time hearing them, they are here as a result of a grant from the Eno River Fellowship Foundation, and so they will be here with us at least once a month, though this week they'll be with us twice because they'll be here today as well as Wednesday. So come, let us enter this space of hope and community.
Come, let us enter this space with our sorrows, our joys, our passion and compassion.
Come, let us enter this space with the stories of our ancestors, for their strength and wisdom beats in our hearts.
Come into this space, present to the beloved companions who move beside us.
Come into this space mindful that together we are building a future for other generations. As we light our chalice this morning, let us practice resilience with reckoning. Let us marry memory and promise. Let us dance in the tension we find there. Let us rest in the integrity we cultivate there. And let us be partners with the possibility that emerges there. It is good that we gather. So good morning. Let's say it louder. Good morning. Good morning. All right, that's so great. Welcome to the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or ERUUF, as we like to say. I'm Reverend Jacqueline Brett, and whoever you all are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender identities, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, or in your search for hope, meaning, and liberation, we welcome you here in beloved community. If you are visiting with us for the first or perhaps even the second time, we invite you to rise in body or spirit so that we might give you an ERUUF welcome. Yes. Awesome. Thank you all so much for choosing to spend your Sunday morning with us. At 10 o'clock every Sunday, right before this service, we have a class called Inquirers for visitors and newcomers, and we invite you to join us in that class where you get to learn a little bit about us, and you can share some about you yourselves. Today, I actually rushed in here because I was teaching a class about how we do worship. And so kind of went behind the scenes of how all this takes place. So we hope you'll choose to join us at some point in the future at that class. Today, for those of you who might not know, is a multi-generational service, so the kiddos will stay with us during the service today. And if you have not already done so, we invite you to bring to the altar any objects or photographs that you have not placed upon the altar. You are more than welcome to do that. Some news that I have to share with you is that we are complete with early voting here at ERUUF. Yes, indeed. And I know our people have been working around that and still are working because voting is not yet completed, right? So on Tuesday, folks will be voting in the general election on Tuesday. And as a result of the fact that this is election week, we have a number of special events occurring here. On Monday, we will have the sanctuary open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Just for an election vigil. You can come in at any point during the day. Music will be playing. The candle table will be here, as well as some stations with some other rituals you might participate in should you wish to. You can just come in and just sit quietly and listen to some soft music and just reflect or pray or whatever it is that you need to do. You can even turn around a few times and do a little dance, whatever seems to come forward for you in terms of what matters most. Tuesday, we have a watch party. So the watch party is for anyone who doesn't want to be alone on Tuesday evening and would love to be in the company of others. That watch party is being hosted by the Board of Trustees with the fabulous Dominique. Dom, stand up and raise your hand. Dom throws the best parties here. Dom is a member of our board and will be making all the magic happen that evening. So as I said to everyone, it is a family-oriented event. We invite you, first of all, to RSVP if you're attending, if you want to attend. You won't be turned away if you don't RSVP, but it helps us to plan. And so if you go to eNews or the QR code that you see on the slides in the gallery, you can point your device there and it'll show you how to RSVP. It just helps. We invite you to bring a dish or some snacks or a beverage of your choosing, as long as it's nothing stronger than wine. So you can do all of that, and we just, as I said, it would be wonderful to be together on such a momentous evening, even though we know that we will probably not have any results, but we can maybe get a sense of the tenor of things, or just be together in community, which I think is very important. On Wednesday evening in this space, we will have at 7 p.m., we will have post-election vespers in response to the question, where do we go from here? So it is a full-out worship service. The band will be here again, and we will have a full service here that evening. All are invited to that service if you feel that's what's needed for you. So you are most welcome. On Saturday of this coming week at 2 p.m., we are holding the memorial service for Susan Hollister. All, of course, are invited, and the family is also hosting a benefit memorial concert in Susan's honor at 8 p.m. that evening, and anyone from ERUUF is invited to attend that concert. The last thing is on Sunday of next week, we have a finance forum that I'll be conducting with a member of our Board Financial Advisory Committee. We try to be as transparent as we possibly can here with regard to our finances. And so this is a chance for any of you who are interested, member or not, to be able to find out what's been happening for the last 6 months. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Evelyn Studer. One of the things that our Justice Ministry Council does every year is November is considered Giving for Justice Month. And they, as a group, decide upon a particular organization in this area that usually the criteria is that they serve people in Durham, even if they're not located in Durham. But this year, the Justice Ministry Council voted unanimously that the funds we collect throughout the course of this month would continue to go to Hurricane Helene relief. Because we know that although some of the excitement has died down, those people will be suffering for a long period of time. So we will continue to collect money in their behalf, and we'll be sending it off to the UU Justice Ministry of North Carolina, who will see that it reaches those congregations and organizations in Western North Carolina that are most in need. And so, Evelyn.
Hi, I'm Evelyn Studer, a co-leader of ERUUF's Pride Plus Action Group. Our group is committed to advocating for the human rights of the LGBTQ plus community. So the Justice Council, as Reverend Jacqueline said, did vote in favor of dedicating ERUUF's November Justice Giving Sundays collection to help people in the western portion of the state who have been severely impacted by Hurricane Helene. And as she also said, the funds will be sent to UU Justice NC. And if you're not familiar with this amazing organization, here's a few examples of what they do. They're building alliances with other justice-minded groups. They're working on a lot of voter empowerment projects. And they're also educating and activating participants at the Friday Action Hour virtual meetings every week. UU Justice NC will distribute half of what we collect to a minister's discretionary funds at the Western North Carolina congregations to aid affected individuals. And the other half will be shared with value-aligned nonprofits. And these are groups that focus on the need of people who often face barriers accessing help from traditional organizations or groups with conservative ideologies. For many reasons, farm workers or people who are unhoused or who are unemployed can be at a substantial disadvantage in accessing the help they need through conventional sources. And people who don't conform to gender expectations, especially transgender and non-binary people, are often overlooked or discouraged from seeking assistance. And this is the good part. UU Justice NC will ensure that organizations which value and serve the LGBTQ plus community will be there to offer our friends hope for rebuilding their lives. Thank you for your participation. It really will make a difference.
Now I'm going to welcome down all of our smallest and mediumest and tallest folks for a story for all of us, a time for all ages. I
just wanted to say one thing. We have empty seats here. There's like 2 pews that are empty here for anyone who has been looking for a seat. So know that you can come and sit next to Pam.
Yeah, we'll do both of those things. Our smallest, mediumest, tallest people can come on down, and there's plenty of seats over here for people who are still looking for seating. We've got a full space down here, don't we? So come on down. Yeah. Good morning, good morning. It's good to see your faces. From our youngest to our, definitely not our youngest, down here with us. But it is always helpful to have not our youngest down here too. Has anybody down here ever heard the word ancestor? Yes. What do you think the word ancestor means? What do you think?
I think it means like when there's like really people that go back a lot of generations that do special things.
People who go back a lot of generations who do special things. Yes, there is a lot of good things in that answer. Yes.
So I want to Mama, and it's people that did really cool things from a really long time ago, and they probably have died, but they still have did really cool things in the past.
People who did really cool things from a long time ago, and you added another important thing, often people who have already died, and that is true. Did you have something to add?
Something about a birthday party? You know, I think you have read the screen already, or you know this book. Oh my gosh, how wise of you, how smart of you. Very smart. We have excellent minds down here. So, this book is called Aisha and the Ancestors, and it's a birthday party for Great Ganny. So I'm going to start reading it, but there's a lot of pieces that you all have said already that you're going to see in this book. Very astute, my friends, very astute. And we're going to find out. Now, you're going to notice Great Ganny has like this kind of special effect around her. We're going to figure out why in a moment. Today is Great Ganny's birthday. Today we celebrate with family, friends, and music, and Great Ganny's favorite cake, pound cake. Yummy. How many people like pound cake? How many people think pound cake's okay? I admit, I think it's great that Great Ganny loves pound cake. I prefer different cakes, but, you know, we all have different tastes. Daddy fried Great Ganny's famous chicken. Great Gandy boiled her greens. Our house smells so delicious, just like all her favorite things. And you see how all these members of the family brought different things. My brother Troy is the DJ. He plays Great Ganny's favorite songs. Uncle Ronnie dances with his cane as we clap and sing along. You're going to see Uncle Ronnie have some dance steps here, have some moves here. He moves better than myself right now, I will say. Good job, Uncle Ronnie. Go, Uncle Ronnie. I have to say, it's pretty good. We sit around the table, and everyone takes a turn to say something sweet about Great Ganny, even though she is now gone. Like you said, Great Ganny is an ancestor. She is somebody who's already died. How many of you, first of all, have people in your life who've been really special to you who died? Yeah, who maybe you learned something from. How many people out here have had somebody really special in your life you learned something from who died? Oh, take a look back there. People down here, take a look back there. People back there have the same thing. Oh. My grandma lights a white candle. My Great Gandy says a prayer. Aunt Tasha tells us stories about Great Ganny when she was still here. So they share stories about Great Ganny while she was alive. And you see some of these stories. You see her dancing. You see her singing at a microphone, working at a makeup counter, jumping the broom at her wedding, having a baby. My Great Ganny was amazing. Today is Great Ganny's birthday. And though we celebrate, Dad says that it's okay to cry and be sad that she's away. So there's a lot of celebrating in this book, but when people die, do people get sad? Yeah. And sometimes they're sad for a long time, and that's okay too. Your Great Ganny is an ancestor now, Aisha, and she's looking out for you. Everywhere that you go, baby girl, her love is right there too, and you see Great Ganny in all these places. Great Ganny is with her loved ones, ancestors from long ago, her mother and father, sister and brother, and more family than we know. You see one ancestor here, and we turn the page, and what do you see? More ancestors, yes. A long line of Aisha's ancestors and Great Ganny's ancestors going very far into the past. Our ancestors love and guide us. They help us to succeed. And every time we remember them, we bless their memory. This ties into what you said, actually, but both of you said. Dad says, I look like Great Ganny. It's the sparkle in your eye. When you smile, I see her smile, and I know that she is nearby. Today was Great Ganny's birthday. We sure did celebrate. I think Great Ganny would be so happy that we gathered on her day. See, they're giving Great Ganny's picture a kiss goodnight. Happy birthday, Great Ganny. And you see outside the house all these generations of ancestors. Yeah.
And Great Ganny's kissing her goodnight.
And Great Ganny's kissing her goodnight, yeah. So in that way, all of our ancestors get to be with us as we go through life, and we get to remember them and remember the lessons we learned from them. And maybe we even learn some of the lessons that our parents or our grandparents learned from their ancestors too.
Maybe they're watching that pretty looking thing on book.
I know. It is quite pretty.
That's why they're there, and they put it in.
Yeah. All right. Yes?
I wonder how that TV shows you.
I know, that's very interesting. I'll tell you later, okay? But for now, let's head back to where we're sitting and join us in more of our learning about ancestors and our growth through time.
Please turn and greet your neighbor, especially say hello to someone who you haven't met yet.
When I sat down to ponder my reflection this week, I felt a deep sense of weariness settle upon me. It's the slog and noise of election season, yes, the weight of climate crisis, of ongoing genocide, the darkening mornings as we move toward the solstice, yes. And I worried that I'd exhausted my store of creative energy, having already done a lot of deep thinking and writing. What can I say about the ancestors that would be worthy? What can I say about repair when so much needs to be repaired? Then I heard the voice of a poem. It spoke to me quietly from its place in my heart, where I store it in a honeycomb cell alongside its countless cohabitants. As a poet myself, who's been reading poetry avidly since childhood, my collection of heart poems is large. They speak to me when I need them, crawl partway out of their little hexagonal caves and buzz to me, either gently or sometimes insistently. They speak up when I need them. The one I heard this time is by the poet Lucille Clifton, and it's called Generations. This is what it says. People who are going to be in a few years bottoms of trees bear a responsibility to something besides people. If it was only you and me sharing the consequences, it would be different. It would be just generations of men. But this business of war, these war kinds of things, are erasing those natural, obedient generations who ignored pride, stood on no hind legs, begged no water, stole no bread, did their own things, and the generations of rice, of coal, of grasshoppers, by their invisibility, denounce us. The reason this poem spoke to me this week is not, I think, to make me or us feel further denounced. I suspect many of us already feel our complicity in harm to people and the planet. But as a reminder, in this season of gathering darkness, where death and loss is falling all around us, red, golden, and brown, of the vastness of the web of which we're a part. I take it as a reminder to honor not only my human ancestors, but also my non-human ones, the generations of rice, of coal, of grasshoppers, who have made mine and my forebears' lives possible, despite our often thoughtless treatment of them, and to whom we all owe respect, care, and gratitude. For me, this reminder is a great comfort, and I'm grateful to Clifton's poem as it crawls on delicate legs back into its honey-filled cell in my heart for speaking it. These natural, obedient generations hold me in my weariness with human affairs and politics. They help me to understand myself as a future ancestor, as a bottom of a tree, or perhaps as the bee buzzing around its branches, and to learn from their whisperings and their silence.
Thank you. That was so very beautiful. So I have been thinking a lot these past several months, but especially over the past week, about how in the world have we all come to this moment when we as people locally and globally seem to be coming apart, having lost a shared center of things, seemingly lost our minds, our senses, or lost perhaps our way. Or perhaps the present moment is simply revealing what has been true all along and what we have simply failed to admit or perhaps could not see or haven't wanted to deal with. So here we are. We gather today to celebrate our ancestors, and if celebration is not what you're feeling up to, then we are here at the very least to acknowledge their existence, that they are in all manner of complexity from whence we have all come. So one of my favorite television shows is the PBS series Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates Jr. Dr. Gates is a professor of English holding an endowed chair at Harvard University and the director of its Hutchins Center for African and African American Research. And for those of you who do not know the show, the venerable Dr. Gates interviews famous and not so famous, prominent people whose family trees he and his team have investigated with each person's permission. In an interview format that mixes the person's known family stories and history with research in American and global history, DNA science, and by combing through the many records kept by governments and private citizens, as well as a fair amount of conjecture, the story of the person's family tree is constructed. It is really all quite fascinating. The person being interviewed generally learns things they never knew about their family members, as well as the ancestral lineage they've all descended from. Sometimes what is learned is heart-wrenchingly painful, shocking, or pleasantly surprising, and always punctuated by questions from Dr. Gates like, "So what do you think about this? How do you feel now knowing this? Or did you ever imagine that something like this could be true or possible in your family?" Two episodes that have especially stood out for me were the famous, or perhaps now infamous, interview of actor Ben Affleck, in which it was later discovered that he had persuaded Dr. Gates not to share the information about his slave-owning ancestors, which resulted in the show actually being canceled for an entire season. And I can't help but think, really though, Ben? Did you really believe that any of us would have been surprised upon learning that your family had been here over a certain period in history in the United States and were slave owners? Really? The other episode that I still think about today, because I was so surprised by it, featured one of the most talented musical artists of our time who, upon discovering the history of his enslaved ancestors, became so visibly shocked and disoriented that Dr. Gates actually stopped the interview. And to my knowledge, it has never been completed. So we do not exist in isolation, and whether we venerate our ancestors or not, know their names or not, or from whence they have by the literal thousands come before us, they do stand behind us, forming a trail of interdependent lives, decisions, beliefs, and imperfect actions that impact us today for good or ill in our families, in our cultures, in our histories, in our now. And all because of choices made, horrific choices, beautiful choices, impossible choices, heart-centered choices, even when what is held in the heart is misguided and perhaps simply evil. Today, we too have choices in who we are being and becoming in this world that we are just as much a part of creating as anyone else, for good or for ill. This creation is going on moment by moment in what we think, say, and do, and thus bring into being, even in this collective moment we are sharing in right now. What are we being and thus becoming? What world are we now bringing into being? All choices are generative in that they create something in the world, whether it is in the microcosmic world of our lives and those we touch or who touch us, or in what is truly macrocosmic, the truly macrocosmic, interdependent world of all beings of which we are a part. Never forget this. We do not choose for ourselves alone, but our choices always impact others. Whether we got up cranky this morning and chose to remain that way, whether we awakened yet again with a heart filled with unshakable grief, fear, or remorse, or whether we arose with gratitude and joy in spite of it all. It all matters. Seemingly inconsequential choices are of consequence for every single life you touch, every single life that touches you. You are of great consequence. And I say this to you. I am both glad and grateful that you've made the choice to be here today in community as a co-creative act of resilience, resistance, and love that is impacting something or someone in this world, whether you are here in person or are watching online. And thus, in our choosing, we might continue in the lineage of those who came before us, or perhaps forging a new trail, create a new direction for our lineages, or at least the strands that we now represent and hold, the lives that we shall one day stand behind as the ancestors of our descendants. Some of us are already living such lives. Lives that represent choices of a new direction, new ways of thinking, of being, of the possibilities for embodiment in human relationships, and the world we'd like to see, a world perhaps never imagined by our ancestors, a world that our ancestors maybe never even thought was possible or didn't even want it to be possible. We get to imagine that now and bring it into being. And this, perhaps we might appreciate the great law of the Haudenosaunee or Iroquois Confederacy, said to have been recorded somewhere between 1142 to 1500, which considered the impact of their collective decision 7 generations into the future. The 7-generation principle, as it has become known today, so much so that it has been commercialized in our great American tradition of capitalism, that there are even products named for it. The 7th-generation principle is most generally considered when we think in terms of the sustainability of our environmental actions. But the truth of the matter is that it is equally needed for the sustainability of our relational interactions as well. What a way to consider the ancestors who came before us, or the ancestors we might one day become, if we were to make our decisions considering their consequences that far ahead. It is said in some European traditions that at this time of the year, the veil between the world of the here and now and the world populated by those who have come before is thinned, with access and the capacity for communication between the two worlds now possible, which is the origin of the current Day of the Dead ceremonies and celebrations, including Halloween, or All Souls Day, which finds its origins in Catholicism when 7th century monks decided to offer a special mass for their deceased community members, and it became a tradition throughout Catholicism. In the Americas, particularly Mesoamerica, European colonization merged with indigenous traditions to form Dia de los Muertos. And it is believed in some African and Asian cosmologies that the presence of our ancestors is a natural part of day-to-day living, day-to-day life. And thus the presence of ancestors is always acknowledged, venerated, and sometimes even worshiped. So as I have been thinking about these varied beliefs and considering the importance and impact of our ancestors, whether they are familial strands or ancestors we have chosen because they have inspired our lives and given us reason to believe that we might even have life, I have chosen to think of today as a celebration of all the souls. Not quite in the way the Catholics might believe, but as a true UU, I have formed something that might perhaps be best described as a pluralism of all the souls. The imperfect souls that came before us, the imperfect souls we are today, and the imperfect souls that shall come after us. And my sense of soul is the animating force with life force within each of us. And lest we might wonder whether all the souls deserve our celebration, I'll leave that choice for you to consider. My choice is to invite in the souls from the past, present, or future that in our moment in time are interested in the well-being of us all. I can do without all the rest, but I shall pray for them, and I shall continue to pray for us all. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so. So right now we are going to gather in our moment of, you can keep playing, of honoring and celebrating the lives that have come before us. Whether they are lives that you personally have known or know of because of your ancestral strands, or ancestors that you have claimed because they have given you life and inspired your life. And the way we're going to do that is that I invite you, should you wish, to light a candle. And if you don't want to light a candle, to maybe gaze upon the lives that have been placed upon this altar and just take a moment of reflection, or you can simply remain in your seats and just hold the space with the rest of us. And so as we often do, we will start on this side of the room from the back pews. We'll come down the side aisle and up the center, and we will light candles together. Choice, not a directive.
I invite you to find a comfortable space of being in your body where you are sitting. If you would like to, let your eyes close or lose focus for this time of meditation and deepening. We are in this space present to the love and the influence of those who have come before us, those we have been in relationship with, those who we may or may not have known, but have helped to deliver us into great possibilities. We hold you, those who have come before us, in that space of inspiration, of showing us the way or a way, or just giving us love in this journey through life. We also hold you now, those who have come before us, in knowing that you are also complex and real examples of humanity. While you have brought something to our lives, we also want you to not have to be something more than human. We want you to be fully human, with all the joys and troubles that come with that. So in holding your inspiration and your humanity, I welcome everyone in this space today to join me in a cascade of appreciation. From where you are sitting, I want you to hold in your mind the picture of an ancestor or ancestors who you have gratitude for, who have brought energy into your life. And I welcome you to just say thank you to those ancestors from where you sit, letting your words cascade over one another, flowing together. Say thank you now. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Grandfather. And each week, we also hold in our hearts the joys and concerns of this community, be they global, local, or here within ERUUF. This morning, we hold concerns and challenges on the global scale. We hold all those affected by the ongoing conflicts in Sudan, Gaza, Ukraine, and around the world. In our ERUUF community, we hold in our heart Judy Thorne's family, including her daughter, Rachel McNeil. Judy died in a car accident very recently. Judy had been part of ERUUF's Clicking for a Cause group for several years and will be missed. Let us now take a breath as we hold those concerns amidst those concerns that remain unspoken. And also, let us take a moment to hold all of the joys and possibilities that lay before us in life. Let those joys and possibilities that are unspoken be with us as we take one more breath. May we continue to share warmth throughout these moments on the journey. Blessed be.
Please join me now in singing Comfort Me, hymn number 1002 in your teal hymnal. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 4, and 5, and the words are on the screen. Comfort me, oh my soul.
So each week, as you all know, we gather together in beloved community, and it takes a lot for us to be in a time and a space such as this. Not only our own effort to actually show up, but it takes our time, it takes our imagination, it takes our creativity, it takes our time and our treasure as well. And so with that in mind, I invite you to the greeters, as they come forward with the pouches, we invite you to remember that we are giving for justice this month throughout November, and then it will benefit Hurricane Helene disaster relief. And if you do not have something to place in the pouch, you may actually point your device at the screen, or you'll find in the pew rack a card that you can also point your device at the QR code there, and you will be directed to our giving portal. Yes. You all should have seen Redford down here working it out. Anyway, we give thanks. We give thanks that we get to be in community together. We give thanks for all that we co-create together in our joys, in our grief, in our sorrows, in our love, in our caring. We give thanks for it all. Wendy?
Oh, please rise and body your spirit. Our closing hymn is number 1018, Come and Go With Me, verses 1, 3, 4, and 1, and the words are on the screen.
Come and go with me.
Matt, am I on? Am I on? I can't tell. Anyway, thank you so much for this music today. I said I want a New Orleans vibe to the music so that we are not just in sorrow, but I love the way they celebrate funerals in New Orleans, where it is a celebration. Our closing words today are some of my favorite regarding ancestors, and they are from the Chickasaw poet and essayist Linda Hogan. And it captures both the deep listening we spoke of last month as well as where we are today as we consider repair. Walking, I am listening to a deeper way. Suddenly, all my ancestors are behind me. Be still, they say. Watch and listen, because you and you and you and you are the result of the love of thousands. May it be so, my friend. Go in peace. Go in the light of this love. Amen. Ashe, and blessed be. Go ahead, Matt.